Good evening, everyone. This is Mike O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for October 30th, 2022, around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a special video covering potential tropical cyclone 15 that is now formed in the Caribbean. Do we have a hurricane incoming? So let's go and jump straight into everything. Taking a look at potential tropical cyclone 15 this evening as the sun begins to set, we notice that the system has become better organized during the afternoon and now has a discernible area of circulation. However, this is not yet a tropical cyclone. We notice that the wind barbs are still very elongated north, kind of southwest to northeast, and this kind of indicates that there's still this trough in here, this trough axis. And as long as that remains the case, this is not a tropical cyclone yet, but is on the cusp of doing so. It is now producing some tropical storm force winds on that northeastern side. Looking at the track forecast for this particular system, potential tropical cyclone 15, we notice that is it expected to move on that west-northwesterly trajectory and then bend back towards the west as it interacts with a ridge of high pressure in the Gulf of Mexico. We have tropical storm watches issued for portions of Jamaica, or all of Jamaica rather, and also portions of the Cayman Islands. Now, this system is expected to pass to the south of both of these regions, but could still produce tropical storm force conditions with winds over 34 knots and heavy rainfall at times, hence the issuance of that watch. Now, the main thing to look at here is the water vapor satellite imagery. We notice that the system is embedded within a moist pocket right now, but there's a lot of mid-level dry air indicated by the red colors there. That indicates mid-level dry air in the atmosphere that is trying to work its way into this system. Of course, because this is a circulation in the northern hemisphere, that is going to draw that air inwards towards the circulation, and that might keep this system at bay for at least the next day or two as it moves westward. But eventually the consensus is that this system will likely overcome that and become a hurricane. If we look at the GFS 10-meter wind and mean sea level pressure, we notice how quickly this system ends up getting organized as it passes west and south of Jamaica. This ends up becoming a hurricane on the forecast GFS and on the official NHC forecast. Now that brings it up to hurricane intensity by Wednesday, and then slams this thing into portions of Central America. We're talking areas like Belize that could be impacted by a potential hurricane sometime late next week. So definitely be preparing for potential hurricane impacts in that area. As far as the weather goes in Jamaica, this is the GFS wind gust and mean sea level pressure. We notice that there will be some gusty winds approaching the islands, especially in the southern part, and this might lead to an increase, of course, heavy rainfall, gusty winds, potentially gusting over 45 miles per hour, especially in the southern part. And this definitely could cause some issues, so make sure you bring any loose objects inside and do be preparing for those potential impacts. Now, looking at how strong this system could end up getting in the next couple of days, it's going to be a little cluttered here, but all of these barbs here and arrows, this is the upper level wind, and then we're looking at the 850 millibar vorticity, so the spin in the atmosphere at 5,000 feet off the ground. We notice that as this system passes pretty close to Jamaica, this will encounter a better shear environment, and this will allow the system to begin intensifying. There is this little trough that is northwest of the system. We'll have to watch if that induces a little bit of shear, but after that point, and by Wednesday going into Thursday, the shear begins to decrease. Very light shear, warm sea surface temperatures, and if the system can evade that mid-level dry air, this potentially will develop into a hurricane, potentially maybe even a Cat 2, Cat 3 major hurricane, slamming into portions of Central America by sometime later next week, and shear remains light, so this could be a very big problem. Now, taking a look at the 300 millibar heights overlaid with a 10-meter wind, we notice a series of troughs moving into the U.S. over the next couple of days. Now, initially, that's going to give the storm the northwesterly component. After that time, however, we will see that we do actually get a little bit of a mid-level ridge developing next to our system sometime by Wednesday going into Thursday, and that is likely to cap the northward movement of this system. There will be a trough that digs in around this time to portions of the U.S., but it is quickly moving out, and that is kind of foreshadowed by the fact that this system will continue moving westward And then with a building ridge of high pressure that will find itself developing in the Gulf here, we can see that ridge nosing in. That is the final kind of nail in the coffin to bring this system into Central America. So this is not likely to get into the Gulf at all. So I don't think that's anything to worry about. So in terms of the potential wind gust forecast for portions of Central America, such as Belize, we can see the GFS forecast. We can definitely tell that over 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts are not out of the realm of possibility. This is showing up on the GFS forecast model, bringing some of 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts into portions of Belize and Central America over the next couple of days, sometime late next week as the system makes landfall. This might weaken rather quickly as it makes landfall because of the high train, but certainly 100-mile-per-hour winds near the coast cannot be ruled out, and this is a significant issue, so do be preparing in those areas now. If you look here at the GFS precipitation forecast and total accumulated precip, we notice how this system moves westward over the next few days, strengthening as it does so, makes landfall in Central America. And this is when you start to get those heavy rainfall totals. We're looking in upwards really of potentially 10-15 inches of rainfall across portions of those areas. Of course, the mountainous terrain there is going to also do a number on the rainfall totals and could cause significant mudslides, flash flooding, and of course those dangerous winds. So it is best to be prepared now while you still can. So with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Of course, I am Michael O'Malley, and I'll be talking to you guys again some more tomorrow. Although it will be a little bit later tomorrow in the afternoon, so do stay tuned. All right, have a good rest of your evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.